Can you tell me some of the red flags that you should know before entering a relationship?
Okay. Disrespect, loyalty, gaslighting, narcissistic behavior, that controlling behavior, and lack of communication and I think these are the 5 that I got. Again, if your partner is gaslighting you, bro, run. Just run. Doesn't matter how hot he is or how hot she is and how rich they are. Just run.
Pritha Saha Dutta is a counseling psychologist who has worked with over 500 clients successfully. She is also the author of 2 books, a growth catalyst and a mindset coach. Welcome to So What's Next. Happy to have you here today.
Hey, thank you so much, Yasha. I'm so happy to be here.
So I'm looking forward to a very deep conversation, and I want to start it by telling you something about a friend which she told me. So she told me this, that when she was a kid, if she got more gifts from her father and less attention, she would eventually find something similar like that in her partner. She would look for more gifts when something of a fight happened or something, and or she wouldn't look for basically attention from that person, and vice versa. If she's gotten more attention but less gifts from her father, she would eventually look for more attention from her partner and less of materialistic things basically. So can you tell me why does that happen? What's the psychology behind that?
Absolutely. Okay, so this goes beyond relationships. This actually goes to how your brain develops. Okay, so when we are young, when we are born, till the age of 6 to 8, our brains are basically completely blank. Okay, it's the tabula rasa. It's the blank slate.
Yeah.
Okay, kora kagas. So all the information that comes to us through experiences is coming to us, and that is what the coding is developing in our system, right? So for example, what kind of information, what kind of communication, what kind of behavior is around me. So imagine this person, this friend of yours, imagine this is what she has been seeing. This is the communication she sees between her parents. This is the kind of... so when there's a person who's only seeing that love is always in the form of material gifts.
Right.
That is the conditioning that they're getting. So they don't know anything otherwise, right?
So when they meet a person, eventually will their mind be they will look for that thing first in that person?
Yes,
right?
if they are very unconscious to the fact that this is what they have experienced, and they are not aware that there are different kinds of loves that happen. So I want to talk to you about something very interesting. I thought it will come up later, but I'm glad it came up now.
Yeah.
It's called the 5 love languages, okay? So basically it talks about that humans have 5 ways of expressing and taking love.
Right.
Okay? And it is completely gender neutral. Any and everybody, and not just romantic relationships, but also relationships where your parents, with your parents, with your friends, with your siblings. Okay, so the 5 ways that we express and take love. So I'm just saying them in any order. Number 1 is words of affirmation. So some people like to hear, hey, I like you so much, or you're so good at this, or something.
Compliments.
Complimenting. Okay, so number 2 is gifts. Okay, because some people really like to express their love in the form of gifts. Now, gifts may not always be material. Okay, gifts could be in the form of I'm creating something for you, for example, my dad's love language is giving gifts. Okay, but his gifts are not lavish gifts,
emotional gifts.
They are, for example, so in Bengali families what happens, Sunday is bazaar din. So the men of the house will take the tholis, and they will do the shopping for the whole week. So it's a thing. And every time he would step out to buy anything for the house, he will always get hajmola or something, or gajra, or 1 rose for me and my mum.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily iPhone khareed ke diya, har din kuch naya.
Nothing expensive, but something meaningful that kind of reminds you of
yes. I went down, I saw this, I thought of you. You guys like hajmola, I got... even there's a hajmola, even if there's a hajmola ka dabba sitting at home, I thought of you. He'll always, every day after coming from work, he would come home with something, maybe a dabba of ice cream or something.
So you would expect that the same thing from your partner as well, right? Eventually.
Coming to that. Okay, then that's the second love language. Number 3 is physical touch. Okay, so this is non-sexual aspect of physical touch, holding hands, pulling cheeks, petting your head, or giving back rubs or something, which shows physical affection, which is non-sexual. Number 4 is quality time. spending time together, not being in the same room. You are on your phone, I'm on my
Yeah.
phone, but actually doing something
Like doing
together.
like having experiences together.
Yes,
Like
yes,
something like painting something together, for
yes, or
example.
just having a chat.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
that too.
like drinking chai, like
Yeah.
chai pe charcha.
Ha.
The fifth love language is acts of service. So basically doing something for somebody. Okay. All our Indian parents, mostly 99.99% of them have acts of service. They'll not tell you I love you. They'll not give you a hug. They'll not kiss you on your forehead. They'll not tell you you did a good job and they are proud of you. Okay. Most of the parents, unfortunately,
Don't deal with their emotions that way.
they don't have that exposure,
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Unko kisi ne nahi bola, so they have never done it. When
Right.
we get exposed to them, that's how we grow. And as humans, we have those needs, okay? But what happens when somebody is growing up and they are only exposed to a out of one out of the five?
Yeah.
So their whole world works like that, okay? But when they grow up, they will realize eventually that that's not enough. There are different ways, and right now today there are more than 8 love languages. I am well versed in the 5 love languages. I keep educating myself. Like every year I'll take 2 trainings to sort of update myself. So now my next thing is to learn about the new love languages that have come up.
The rest of the 3 ones.
Yes.
Okay, so basically like if you have 1 out of 5, like
Yeah.
when you grow up you can resonate that with
Yeah.
what you want in your
Yeah.
partner,
Yeah.
essentially. But as you grow you also develop like the other love languages as well,
Yes,
right?
because you will have friends who will, who will want to hug you.
Right.
Okay. And there will be a miscommunication if that understanding is not there. For example, every time you go and meet that friend and you always come up with a dairy milk. Imagine this is a school kid, okay? Like every time you're going out, you have something about the friend and the other friend only gives you a hug. If you don't have that communication or that understanding, it's not the other friend is broke or doesn't have money to give you something, but their love language is probably writing a letter for you, like
Yeah.
a beautiful, or making a handmade gift. Okay, that is going to be their love language. But if you are not conscious about the fact that everybody speaks and expresses love in a different manner, okay, we will be stuck. And that's what maybe happened to your friend who's only looking for material ways of showing love, which is not wrong. But what if there's an amazing person who comes to your life and his love language is not
Material things.
giving gifts? His love language is probably like giving experiences,
Right.
or actually wanting to spend time with her, which was denied to her as a child.
And if the 5 things that you mentioned right now, if they are like, if you're not aware of that actually can create problems for us as well.
100%. So as once people understand, ki my love languages are these and his love languages are these, or her love languages are these, a lot of clarity happens. Because a lot of times huge misunderstandings happen. Oh, he to never buys me gift, or she only wants me to buy expensive things. Because maybe like your friend, that person has been raised to think that love is only like this.
Right.
And
yeah.
maybe the guy's family, he has seen that, family time, dates, giving foot rubs and, physically
Quality
being there,
time.
quality time. These are the things that he has seen and he has
Right.
associated with love.
Right.
Okay. And another thing that happens, Yashas, is we choose
What we want to be exposed to.
Yes. No, we can't choose what we want to be exposed to. We choose what we want in our lives. So, for example, growing up, if I'm seeing that, my mother is really looking for my dad's attention and he really wants attention, and, and he's not giving me attention, but he'll come and give huge gift, expensive gift, something that will make all my friends jealous. But my emotional needs are still not being met. Somewhere we make a decision that, no, I don't want this. Or whatever, I don't care. Okay, so you're suppressing your emotions when you say I don't care, this is okay.
Right.
You have never really introspected or really done a deep dive into your mind and what is missing and why do I feel like that. And then you end up being that materialistic person because you yourself are not aware of your emotions. Okay?
Right.
But if it's coming from a conscious place that, for me, I have standards and I want to be treated in a certain way and I want gifts, but also I want that emotional connection.
Yeah, like that happens more with like self-awareness mostly.
Yes,
when
yes.
you are I think I'm very self-aware like
Right.
that. So I think I want a combination of all 5 because I know like what's lacking here. I want to compensate that.
Yes, absolutely. And when we are self-aware, and if my partner for whatever reason is not able to give me, I don't put it as a blame, or I don't even label that person XYZ, you know. So there's no personal attack. We see the person as a whole. We accept them with the gifts that they come with, which is their personality, which is their love, which is their presence.
Right.
And if there's anything additional, it's a cherry on cake.
So do you think the more the self-aware the person is, the more open they are? Like
Yes.
not open to judgment. Like they won't judge people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a good thing to hear.
Yeah, that is. But you know, sometimes being too self-aware can also be a problem. I'll tell you why. Because you become too intellectual.
Yeah.
Intellectualizing is different from being intellectual. In what sense? For example, I know I have a problem, okay, and I need to process that problem, okay. Like in therapy, if you've ever experienced therapy, then you know your therapist will use these words like sit with your feelings. Okay, and you know you have experienced some kind of negative experience and you need to sit with your feelings, but you're intellectualizing it. I should feel like this, or I feel like this, and you're just thinking, but you're not processing the feelings in your body.
Yeah, like they're just thoughts passing by your head, but you're not understanding what those thoughts are doing to you.
Yeah, exactly. So then you may be just surface level self-aware. Self-awareness is not just being aware of the thoughts, but you also have to understand, because your feelings, your emotions are also stored in your body.
Right. And I think there's a why also to everything. Like why something has happened to you, and if you're thinking about it, you need to relate it with the experiences that you've actually had in your life, and you need to connect it with
Absolutely. So that's what is called a trigger.
Right.
And the opposite of trigger is a glimmer. Like you see some things and it just
lights
gives you a lot
up.
of joy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's a good this explanation.
Yeah.
You know, so okay, so now I want to move forward to something that's very relatable to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people would want to know this. Can you tell me some of the red flags that you should know before entering a relationship?
Okay, absolutely. Now, red flags can be very, very subjective, okay? But there are a few that I think are hallmark everywhere, and it applies everywhere. Number one is disrespect. Now, there are different kind of people who, for them, their love language is making fun of each other, okay? But if it is consensual, that, you know, I'm also roasting you, you're also roasting me, and our love language is roasting each other, then that's fine. But humiliating somebody, putting them down is a red flag, right? So that's number one, that disrespect. Loyalty, again, is again very subjective, because what do you mean by loyalty? For some people, for example, actors, they have to make out with other people, right?
Yeah.
It's a part of their job. So if the other partner, like I had this one client, okay, she wanted to be an actor, she wanted to be a model, and you know, her partner was really, really possessive, to the point that there was something not really right with that guy, and we wanted to get him for therapy, but he wasn't very open to it.
Yeah.
And she didn't even get a role, she didn't even get a job, but he would like literally you know, call her in the middle of the night and cry, oh, you're going to be such a big star and you're going to make out with guys, and you know, and just
insecurity,
fuck with her brain.
Yeah.
And that's not something a healthy person does. You know, there's something, you know, inherently disturbed with the person, and he needs to work on it. You know, maybe some really, really, like you said insecurity, deep rooted insecurity that was affecting. So, you know, that kind of loyalty is very, you know, that there are pilots who have to travel, etc. So are you going to keep checking their phones or something like that? So that communication is very important.
Right.
Jonah Hill, you remember that screenshot that went viral?
Which one?
So Jonah Hill basically was DMing this chick on Instagram. She is a athlete. She's a professional surfer. Okay. And now, if your profession is surfing, just imagine what kind of job you have to do. What kind of people will you hang out with, and what kind of clothes are you going to wear? You know, so he basically weaponized therapy language, and he said that these are my boundaries. You will not hang out with other, you will not hang out with other male surfers. You will not wear revealing bikinis, and you will, and all of these things. Now, first of all, understand what is boundary. Boundary is something that is mine. It's mine.
Right.
Boundary is my house. Boundary cannot be किसी और के घर के बाजू में I created a boundary wall. That's not how a boundary works. So basically he used
like
therapy terminology. Okay, but basically what he did was he was trying to like impose restrictions on her, and she screenshot and she shared it. She was not taking anybody's weird shit.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting to see, because control is a big red flag.
Okay.
See, if I am uncomfortable with you, okay, you're a very good looking dude. Imagine I'm dating you and you're getting a lot of ton of attention. I have to first understand that that is who you are, and that's the first thing that attracted me to you. Now, once I have you, if I say that now you can't do the things that make you you, and you just have to be my boyfriend, am I not expecting you to be my puppet?
But that's very like relevant right now. It happens a lot, not only with girls with their guys, but with guys also with their girls. If they are
Of
dating an
course.
attractive woman, it's very common.
Of
right?
course, you dating a bad bitch. Obviously, you have to like deal with that. Then you can't be like, now why you dressing up like a hoe? Hello, that's exactly why you want her in the first place,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
So that's very important. So having that boundary, that communication is very important. So when your partner is refusing to communicate, that's a huge red flag. If he keeps changing, another thing is narcissistic behavior. Narcissistic behavior, obviously, narcissism is a terminology for an actual illness, right? But there are certain patterns that can be narcissistic. Okay, so obviously, we shouldn't label anybody like OCD or depression without knowing, understanding, and if there is no formal diagnosis, then it's unfair na? Like it's saying that, oh, I have headache, are mujhe to brain tumor ho gaya. Would you say something like that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I really judge people, and I really get ticked when people say, oh, I have OCD. No, dear, you like to clean stuff.
Yeah.
You're clean freak. That's a good thing, but don't use these words, because OCD is an illness, and if you sit 1 hour with a person who actually has the illness, you will cry. It's horrible to watch, to be with somebody
like
who's
people
that.
use it very casually right now.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not using the word narcissistic lightly. I'm saying there are some tendencies, that there are some styles. For example, that controlling behavior, gaslighting somebody. Again, if your partner is gaslighting you, bro, run. Just run. Doesn't matter how hot he is or how hot she is and how rich they are. Just run. Because it's really going to destroy your life, and it will completely destroy your mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these were the 5 things that you said. Can you repeat those? Like, one is disrespect.
Disrespect, loyalty, gaslighting, narcissistic behavior, that controlling behavior, and lack of communication. And I think these are the 5 that I covered.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I need to watch out. Yeah, allowed to consume.
Not generic enough for you, I hope.
No, it's a lot to consume actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like couples. I really like therapy space, because, so 90% of the ocean is unexplored, right?
Yeah.
So is your human mind. Like, if you just go down, and honestly, you don't even have to do drugs to, go into your human mind. If you just sit with a notebook and pen and write down your thoughts, so many things will come out.
Journaling.
Yeah, exactly. Journaling. So many things will come out that you don't even know is there in your system,
Yeah, that's fair. But now tell me this, that if people are hooking up a lot right now, so what problems do they eventually have in their life? Or are there any problems in the first place that they have? And if they have, then what kind of problems do they eventually face?
So, historically speaking, humans have always been non-monogamous. Okay. And hooking up right now or being in open relationships is not a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay, number one. Okay, it's only the Victorian times that it's been very, very like conservative and very,
like be with one person, do this, do that.
Not just that, but even exploring your sexuality.
Right.
In the Victorian times was very, very conservative, right? They were not, women had to dress a certain way. Before that, before Britishers came to India, women would not even wear a angavastra. They would not cover anything for the chest. And the Britishers came during Victorian times, and they were horrified that, oh my God, these people are like,
yeah, doing this.
Yeah, and they're behaving like that. And for us, which was very normal, and we unfortunately now carry
the British, whatever they have adopted.
वो British
mindset,
चले गए and
mindset रह गया,
weird mindset छोड़ के गए. So number one is to understand that humans are very sexual people. We're very sexual creatures, and we have needs. Okay, if there is communication, for example, if somebody is having multiple casual relationships, hookups after hookup, and unsafe sex, then that means many times, more often than not, there is a possibility that the person has some repressed issues that they need to work on, and they are not really dealing with it.
Can you tell me some of the issues?
Absolutely. For example, like your friend, maybe if there's somebody who grew up seeing a lot of violence in the family, like I'll give you an example of a client. So this client of mine, she grew up in an extremely violent family. Okay, the father would beat the mother up black and blue. She would be bleeding every day. There would be something horrible. And from what the man is no more, he died many years ago when she was in her 20s. No, late teens, early 20s. From what I understand from the description that she gives of her father, it seems that he had some good, major personality disorder. Okay, and he had violent outbursts, etc. Now, in her home, because she was a girl, she was a Muslim girl. She is a Muslim girl, and growing up in a Muslim family, which it was very conservative, so she did not get hugs. Growing up, nobody hugged her, nobody picked her up when she cried. There's this rubbish concept in the West where the children are supposed to self-soothe. They're crying and you just let them cry and then they'll self-soothe. No, you are not supposed to self-soothe. You're supposed to take
Hold
care of the
someone.
child. Yeah, hold the kid till they're calm, because that traumatizes them.
Okay.
There's a huge study on that and it's wonderful. You should definitely read it. So when she would see the abuse and all happening and she would be scared, and she was the youngest person, her brother would also get disturbed, but her brother would beat her up because that's all that they saw in the family. And her mother would also, like, when she would go and asking for a hug, or she would be scared, or she would be crying, the mother would hit her back. There was no love. So she never saw any kind of hugging, kissing, any kind of, cuddling, any kind of soft
Love.
physical,
Yeah.
love.
Touch, huh.
Nothing. So when she grew up, and humans have needs, right? They want to be touched. They want to be hugged. They want to be loved. They want to be cuddled. They want to be taken care of. So when that was not happening, obviously those needs got really, really deep. So the moment she realized that she's a sexual creature, when she was in a 9th grade, 10th grade, she got a boyfriend, and she started having unsafe sex, because obviously there was no sex education in India. Still, we don't have safe sex education, etc. So she would have a lot of unsafe sex, and she would act out her feelings by
While having sex.
Yeah, the sexual act would be her acting out, right? And because they were kids, even the guy was in her class, and because they didn't know what they were doing, they would hurt each other. And she got raped multiple times by the same guy, because they didn't know anything about consent. Right. So sometimes she was not in the mood, and he would want to have sex, and then he would force himself on her, and she didn't know the word for rape till she was quite older. So what happens is, when you are brought up in a home that is so disturbed, you don't learn these things. So even when she grew up, she would date guys who were clearly unavailable emotionally,
Oh.
and she would somehow, because that's how patterns work, right? So she would somehow start dating those guys. She would be in relationship with those guys, and those relationships will always end up in domestic violence. So even now she's in her 40s. Now she's working on herself. Now she's single and she's taking care of herself. But she is drawn to those kind of people who are dangerous, who are wrong. Even if they are like, public eye mein, they are really good. In the four walls of her house, she would get beaten up.
Right.
And if she ever told it to anybody that, my boyfriend beats me up, they would never believe. Right? And if a safe guy sort of approached her, she would immediately get bored.
Yeah.
Because your brain craves for what is familiar. And if chaos is familiar to you, even if it feels chaotic, painful, hurtful, damaging, it's still familiar. And you are drawn to that. And what is not familiar feels dangerous. So even if the other guy, like she was telling me about this guy who was really into her, and now obviously he waited for a very long time for her, and she didn't give him the attention that he deserved, and he sort of moved on. And now when she is in the state where she's realizing she's much more self-aware, and she's quite aware of what she does subconsciously, unconsciously, her behavior patterns. So she realizes that the reason she didn't go out with that other fellow is because he was boring.
Yeah.
And boring just means that it was he was a safe
He
guy.
was a safe guy. Like
He
a
was a
good,
safe guy.
Actually a good choice.
Yeah, it would have been a good choice, but her brain was so used to those patterns, for her to break that pattern obviously is a huge shift, right? To break that pattern is going to take a very long time.
Right. And do you see that happening with people
Yeah,
who
of
hook up
course.
a lot?
Not all of them. Not all of them have a trauma background. Some people are just very sexual people, and they are aware and they know what they want. So I'm just giving you two examples. That one, you could be like really, really aware of, and you want that lifestyle, and you're absolutely okay with that. And
Two, it's because of a past that you're not aware of.
Yeah. And then there are the people who do that.
Wow. Okay. Heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah. So I've also seen that people also don't want to get into a serious relationship because they think about like the fear of missing out, like FOMO factor, that if they get into the serious relationship they won't be able to enjoy their adult life, early adult life, whatever. So how much of a big factor is that, and why do you think that like FOMO is a big thing in people? What's the reason behind that?
Because of FOMO.
Okay, elaborate please.
So I think that's something that's a very personal choice.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact there are a lot of people who have said that to me.
I mean, exactly, it's a personal choice.
And they found somebody who's so perfect for them and they are having a great time, but now they have like, one person they are sticking with. So it's not that you can't have fun, in your early adult life or adult life if you have just one person. Yes, you will not be able to have multiple experiences, but you can still have fun, especially if your partner is fun, right? So you have to choose your partner appropriately. So
but like
that hunt is very.
If you see, like, I'll give you, most of the people right now, they are in a like monogamous relationship, right? So that's the thing. So when they are in that kind of relationship, they see other people having fun, and I actually have a live example.
What do you mean by fun?
Hookups.
Okay.
For them, other people's definition of fun. So now, for example, I'll give you an example. I had a very close friend and he was in a serious relationship. He was dating for 2 years. Okay. Now he got a family friend like who shifted to Mumbai, and he was hanging out a lot with him. And he used to see him like basically hooking up a lot and like just going out partying every day and all that. So he used to look at his life, and then he used to like go home. He had to talk to his girlfriend for like hours or whatever, and then he used to just compare. So that actually led him to even break up with that person and then adopt this kind of lifestyle. So that was like FOMO. Now, obviously, like, it's a big factor, but it depends on how self-aware you are to even know about it.
Right, absolutely.
Right. So now, can you tell me, like, how do you even address these things?
You address it when you are self-aware. Right? So if somebody is in denial mode or they are not even aware, how do you bring that up? Right?
Yeah.
And it comes down to a choice, what kind of person I want to be and what kind of life I want to be. He made a choice that he wanted to have that kind of lifestyle. And obviously, if the relationship isn't... See, in the relationship, I have to have my needs met. And I have to... my partner also has to have their needs met, right? If that is not happening, obviously, I'm not happy in the relationship and I don't want to continue, right? Now, if the relationship is with the person who, for example, my husband is, he's a big music head, okay? And he loves music concerts. And I am homebody, like nobody's business. My idea of having fun is like Netflix and chilling, right? But today, after this, I'm going for a concert, you know? Because that's what he likes. He likes loud places, and so we have to constantly, live for the other person also.
Balance
and do exactly. And if your partner is refusing to do that, and it's only that what I want, and I don't care what you want, and obviously the partner is not going to stay. So that's one of the reasons why people want to do multiple things, because you get to experience all of these things.
Yeah.
And young people have that freedom, they have the time and they have the money right now to have fun. So let them have fun as long as they're safe, okay, sexually and emotionally, because STD is not just physical but it's also emotional.
Mental.
Yeah, and if you are with somebody, like I remember this one of my earlier clients, she was actually a college friend of mine. And the reason she came to me is because she didn't want to go to somebody completely strange. So, so usually therapists are not supposed to, but then she really requested. And we had not been in touch for almost 7 years. So I said, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because we are not like friends. We were classmates in college. So she starts off by saying this, okay, so there's this guy in my workplace. We decided we will just have casual fun. Okay, and now he's getting married and is breaking my heart. So number one, you set the context.
Yeah.
Okay, that this is going to be casual, this is not going to be long term, and now it's not happening anymore, and you're heartbroken is because you were not, up to date. You let your mind go, right? And that happens in hookups and casual relationships.
That's very common. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I said STD is not just a physical thing; it's also an emotional thing. You get attracted to people and you fall in love. So you have to take care of your mind emotionally as well. So are you doing that? You probably are carrying a condom and you're taking contraceptives and all of those things. But what are you doing for your mind?
What do you do for your mind in that
Therapy.
case? That's it.
Therapy is because a lot of people don't have the means to be self-aware. They don't know what it means. And if they're just talking to their friends, their friends are also in the same bloody boat.
Yeah. But your friends are your best therapists. They think that their friends are the
You
best.
also think that,
like no. So when I actually wanted to go for therapy, I told like one or two of my friends about it. That bro, I want to go. So they told me कि so देखो problem है हमसे बात कर ले.
When I said you also think that, I didn't mean you, Yashas. I mean people also think that, I have friends. Why do I need therapy?
Yeah, but that's
it's
a
like
false
blind
narrative.
leading blind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, but that happened with me. Like, he literally told me that, bro, देखो problem है मेरे से बात कर ले या हम लोग से बात कर ले. And why do you need to go there?
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, bro, you all don't understand half the things because basically we all are too immature to understand what's happening. So, but yeah, that was
so I have this, I keep telling my clients two things, okay? Number one, finding a good therapist is difficult. It's like finding the right bra.
Yeah.
Okay, because you may have the same size and numbers and all of those, but all brands are different. You have to keep trying. Shah Rukh Khan uses the chair example. I think chair example is so stupid. He should have used the bra example. People have just got it. Okay, probably they wanted it PG rating. That is why they used the chair example. Because this chair is also comfortable. That chair also looks comfortable, and you're not going to sit in chair
And
all the
plus you
time.
can adjust.
But you wear a bra all day, every day, and you're doing everything wearing a bra. Okay, or boxers, or wife runs, whatever. Number two is I forgot. Sorry. I laughed too hard and now I forgot. So number one is, and therapy it's like going to the gym.
Okay.
Everybody needs to go to the gym,
Yeah.
right? Everybody needs to work out and they need to take care of themselves. Now, what kind of gym you're going? Are you going to a gym? Are you going to CrossFit? Are you going to weight training? Are you going to do yoga, aerobics, Zumba, whatever? But you need to work out, right? Going to the gym needs to be made so casual like that, when you say I'm going to the mall or I'm going to the gym, how people are like, oh, great, mall, I also will come with you. Or gym, I'll also come with you. Mujhe bhi jana hai. We need to make therapy
like that.
Yeah, we need to talk about therapy like that. That dude.
Chal
Which is
mein bhi,
happening
yeah,
in America,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The teens and the Gen Z and Gen X.
No,
in
but I
America.
think it's happening in India as well. With at least my generation, it's happening a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
Yeah. Now, remember we were talking about like open relationships before.
Yeah.
So I want to get to that right now. How do people who are in open relationships deal with their emotions?
Okay, number one, couples therapy is very important when you're in an open relationship. If not for the couples, all the partners, but at least with yourself.
Okay.
Because couples therapy, when you're in a relationship or you're hooking
But
up
that's
with one
not a
person.
couple therapy. Now, if you're in an open relationship, do you have multiple
No, I'll
partners?
come to that point. I'll come to that point. So when you are in a relationship with anybody or you're dating somebody, you need to learn how to communicate with your person, know their love language, know their love map, have a sound relationship, home, etc. Those are the protocols that I was telling you about. So when you're dating multiple people, everybody has a completely different backstory. Everybody has a different mindset. Everybody has a different, way of looking at things, doing things, right? Different love languages. So what works with partner A may not work with partner B. What may work with partner B may not work with partner C, and will definitely not work with partner A. You need to have all of those tabs open at all of the time, right? So number one, so you have to have that awareness that when you're with that one person, you have to be with them all the time, and not all the time, completely.
Yeah,
is what
present.
I mean.
You have to be present.
Like for
with
example,
them.
if I'm with you, you're my partner A. Right now, only you matter. I may have two other partners, okay, but they don't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So I have to give you that kind of importance. Number two is communicating. Is the other partners aware that you're in an open relationship?
Right.
Right. If it's not, then you're cheating.
Yeah.
That's the difference. The difference between cheating and an open relationship is communication. The other person knows. Like one of my very, very good friends, he's married, and the marriage is an open marriage. So they both hook up with other people, but they are in love with each other.
Yeah.
So they have that very clear. that I will sleep around and you will sleep around. And so he was telling me that one of the ground rules that we set is we will only sleep with each other on this bed, and if anybody else is coming, we'll use the other room, and we'll not use
this bed, yeah.
But they both of them broke it in the first go itself, and they were laughing about it. And that's how beautiful the communication is,
Right.
because they're very sexual people, and they want to explore.
But they're very open about it.
My friend, the guy, he's pansexual, so he wants to explore other people's bodies, all genders, etc. So obviously you have to find a partner who's open to that. So that's why couples therapy works very, very well for them, because they're constantly communicating, because sometimes feelings do get hurt. Even if you are aware this is an open relationship, even then people are still possessive.
Because you have expectations.
We have expectations. So that happens.
Oh.
So that's why couples therapy is very, very important.
Okay, what
So
apart from couples therapy?
if you
is
don't have couples therapy, then just therapy for yourself.
Okay.
Right?
Where you can
Because-
actually
talk about your
feelings and
because
what you think.
because what will happen, you have an issue, because hooking up and open relationship is not just about the sex, right? It's also about spending time with the other person, communicating, talking about your feelings. And sometimes we talk, and what we expect from the other person, we don't have our expectations met, and that can hurt. And if I have nobody to talk to about it, I'll probably tell the other partner
Right.
or the other partner, and then it becomes like an infighting. Then they vie for each other's attention. But if you have a therapist who you talk to,
You're not dependent on your partner for attention.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely, and you can just be with them and not have those baggages. The baggages you can resolve with your therapist's
Yeah.
office.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's some good advice. Okay, I'll tell you that. Because I've never seen people who are in I don't know anyone who's in an open relationship, but definitely it's a good perspective to hear that
Yeah.
if you are, then what you
Yeah.
should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fair. So there's this one thing right now that I think a lot of people my age are going through. It's that my friend was telling me very recently about this, that he's been in a relationship again for 6 months to 1 year, something like that. And he's become very bored, sexually as well as non-sexually. And it's very common right now that you become very bored with your partner. So how do you even solve that problem?
So there are various ways that you can, first of all, you have to understand that boredom is normal in anything.
Yeah.
In your jobs, we get bored of our parents, we get bored of our, lifestyle. And so being bored in a relationship is normal, and that's a good sign. Okay, that means you're in for the long run. Okay, so if you're bored, you have to run with your love map. Okay, take interest in each other's life, try the 5 love languages, see what's missing, do
Okay.
that, plan. Me and my husband, basically we have a calendar, so every month we have 2-3 things that we have to do. This month we went bowling, we went karaoke. So you need to have your own life and your private,
your own space.
Yes. So your life with your partner and your own life. So I went karaoke with my friends, and I went bowling the next day with him. Right. So today I'm going for a concert with Avial concert today. So doing things with him and for myself.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of things happening and your calendar is full, how are you going to get bored?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, another thing you could be bored is because you may not know how to communicate your true feelings, your true thoughts, because you may feel that this might hurt my partner's feelings, or वो नहीं समझेगी या वो नहीं समझेगा. So then again, therapy is superb for it, because you need to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
Because your partner is a lot of people say this, that it's wrong, but for me, my partner should be my best friend. Not that I don't have other best friends. I have other best friends, but my partner should also be my best friend.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if something's happening to me, something's bothering me, I need help, who do I go to? And if I can't go to my partner, then the relationship needs a lot of work. And sometimes we can't do that by ourselves. Like, for example, I work out, etc. But to get the results that I want, I will want my trainer to stand there and tell me if my posture and stance is right. So that's what a therapist does. They just guide you, and they are the GPS, and they'll ask you some really deep questions that you can actually go back and implement.
Okay.
So I was dealing with this one couple. They were bored out of the wits, and they were contemplating divorce. Very happy couple. They didn't hate each other. There was no fight, but there was nothing happening. And they were like, what, we like each other. It's not that we hate each other. We're not even fighting. We're just bored of each other. What do we do? Okay, let's just go for therapy. Let's see what happens. So we did all of these activities and relationship strategies, and they became best friends again. So basically what happened was, they, even though they were having sex, they were living like roommates. So there was nothing left to discover.
Right.
But that's not true.
There's always something to discover.
There's always something new to discover, and if there isn't on the surface, you have to find it. So maybe you can go to a class together, learn something new, maybe a language, or maybe like go to the gym together, or go dancing together, learn a new dance, do pottery together. Like me and
exactly that what I was telling you, right? You have experiences together that basically you find hobbies that you can experience together.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
Absolutely.
the painting that I was telling you about.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's okay, that's I'll keep in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, now,
because boredom is normal.
Yeah. But I want to actually pick on two things that you have said. And it's like slowly diverging from the main topic. But one is that if you're getting bored, it's a good thing. You said that, right? So I want to pick your brain that why did you say that? What's the reason behind that?
Because the human brain constantly craves newness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why even if we have new clothes and new shoes, we want new stuff, because our brain likes new things.
Yeah.
And it's not just an ADHD thing, it's a human thing. ADHD people just wanted more.
Yeah.
Because they need constant dopamine.
Yeah.
And so we want that dopamine all the time.
But then why is it a good thing if you're getting bored?
That means you're aware that something needs to be worked on, right?
Okay. That's why.
Oh. Right? If I'm not even aware I'm bored, I'm so involved in my own life and I don't even know, I'm getting bored with this person. It
means you need to work on the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just know that, this person is important to me and I'm getting bored. So let's do something about it.
Right. Okay. Second thing I want to ask you about is that you mentioned therapy, right? So what if there's a person who isn't willing to talk? How do you get them to talk?
Then maybe one person can start. Right? Because there is a lot of hang-ups in people, especially there's a lot of taboo about therapy, talking about it. So that's very, very normal, and it comes with the, it's an occupational hazard. But one person can start, right? One person can start working on themselves. And so I'll tell you about one of my earliest cases. So there's this one client of mine. I love her history. I love her. I'll show her this, podcast, and she'll know I'm talking about her. So she was the first person from her family to come. She worked on herself intensely. Okay. उसको देख के उसकी मम्मी आई. उसको देख के उसका भाई आया. Sorry, उसका एक्स बॉयफ्रेंड आया. उसको देख के उसकी बेस्ट फ्रेंड आई. उसको देख के मतलब उसका भाई आया, and then like the whole family came.
Yeah.
And they healed together. And now she's studying psychology. She was actually into digital marketing. She was doing social media management and all of that. She's actually in London right now learning psychology because that's how the impact was for her.
How old is she?
She is in her 30s, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
So she actually applied for a job, for a scholarship in UK, got into a college in UK. Freaking UK, okay? Not like in India or someplace. She actually went abroad. Like that was one of her challenges that she was going through.
I think I'll become that person. Like I'm very interested in psychology for some reason. I have a background in finance, but like this is just drawing me more towards it. And conversations like these are just more interesting to me than talks about like finance. Yeah. Even though that is like something
very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, but it's like something very new and like it basically makes me think.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can read a couple of books,
I have read a lot of books on psychology. That's what actually made me very
Very nice. Go for it. Of course, go for it.
So also, can you tell me like a bit about power imbalance between couples? Like if one couple is like one person in the relationship is very ambitious, but one person is not very ambitious, or like they want stability more than growth. So how do you like deal with those kind of things?
Okay. So when you tell me power imbalance, in my head, I'm thinking it's about the power imbalance between the couple. So one person is taking more control and the other person is unable to or unwilling to take power.
Yeah, that's
right?
also there.
Right. So for me, that is there, because ambition and all of that that's a completely different ballgame. तो power imbalance में क्या होता है? Only one person is taking charge and either not listening to the other person or the other
other person might not be able to talk.
Or they are a very subdued or laid back kind of personality. So when there's power imbalance, there's a lot of unfairness that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when the relationship can go towards abuse or gaslighting and narcissism.
That's a red flag, right?
Yeah. If there's too much power imbalance, right? If one person is only more demanding.
No, but it's very common. Like
it is very common because most of the people are not even aware, right?
Exactly.
See, there is no sex education. There is no relationship advice or, a lot of us don't even grow up in homes where we see healthy
relationship.
We don't see our parents as a couple, we see them living as roommates. Okay, very few of us have seen our parents being romantic, dating, being a couple. They just are our parents and they're living like roommates. So when we don't have that exposure to how a healthy relationship should look like, we obviously get into that loop, right? And again, we are not self-aware and we don't realize that something's wrong. It's just out of habit and you are in that loop again.
Right. Okay. And what about the other problem? Like if a person is more ambitious and the other person
communication
is not, that is also
communication.
Okay.
No, it doesn't resolve the issue. Okay, it brings up the issue and you find ways to resolve it. For example, this is something that's happening with me. Like my husband wants to move abroad and I'm very comfortable here. Okay, so the communication can be about why this is happening, but again the inner work has to come. Both of us have to do it, right? For example, why don't I want to go abroad? Okay, am I traumatized with all the racism related stories? Okay, why does he want to go abroad? Okay, his thing might be very sorted. He wants to be more ambitious, blah, 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 all of that. But why don't I want to go? So then I have to do a lot of inner work. Okay, if it's coming from a place of fear, am I open? Am I willing to work on my fear? Okay, if I worked on my fear, if I'm still not interested, then what? Then are we open to a long distance marriage? Okay, if we are not open to long distance marriage, then what? Okay, am I going to sacrifice my career to go with him? Is he going to sacrifice his dreams to stay here with me? So then all of that conversation really happens. And in relationships, in all relationships, there is some kind of adjustment has to happen, right? But it has to be from a place of love.
Have you seen most people do that? Most people adjust?
Yeah, most people adjust. But because it's
and eventually they're happy with it.
Yes and no. For example, if it's coming from a place of awareness and love that I'm doing this for the other person, and then there is, for example, I need to do something for my partner and I've communicated that this is not what I want to do, but I'm doing it for you, and this is what I would like in return, because it has to be balanced,
mutual.
Right? Yes, but if that's not happening, if the partner is not ready to do it, I don't know what show was I watching, or was it a case study I was reading where or was it a Reddit conversation thread that I was reading? I don't really remember. But the guy was a stay-at-home husband and the wife was working. And the reason this arrangement was made was he was supposed to study so that he could apply for an exam and, level up in life, and, both of them can work. And the lady would want to then come back and be a work from home, homemaker. But then he got so comfortable in that role that he didn't want to. But he did not communicate that to his wife. Okay. He just expected her to keep doing it, and then later on one day when she was like, ki now time is up, please go back. And he said, no, I'm comfortable here, you go. That's not how you communicate. You have to start it from the first time the thought has come to your mind. You have to bring it up. What if this happens? What if, how will it be if this happens? So you have to bring it up. You can't just drop it on somebody's head. So that is why communication is very important.
My the friend I actually was talking about earlier, so the guy she's seeing right now, he kind of dropped a bomb, saying that I'm going to move and take your time in 10 days or 2 weeks, something like that. Let me know what's your decision if eventually in life you want to move and settle down with me in a completely new city and something like that. And now she's in two minds if she really likes him, and she should she go and compromise this thing or start something of her own over there, or actually stay or gain the experience or whatever. So obviously she will communicate. I mean, I hope she does. But
no, the thing is, the communication is not about her. It was about him. He did not know 10 days ago, na?
Exactly.
He knew probably even before he started dating her.
Exactly. They're not dating, they're seeing, and they are kind of people who, if they get into it, they will be pretty serious about it, right, and all that.
Right. But even when they were seeing, something need to be communicated from start.
Exactly, right. So that's also something that I told her, it's kind of unfair on you.
But sometimes if they are just seeing, and maybe he wasn't very comfortable sharing with her, because a lot of people I know, they will not share these things because they don't want it to get jinxed.
Okay.
It's very giving you a very personal example. My husband, he will not tell me things he'll tell me there's something I need to tell you, but please give me some time because I don't want it to get jinxed. Okay. And he'll tell me, don't even ask me what category it is. So we have categories. We talk about,
Right.
like this, like, is it work related, family related, is it health related, like that. For example, if I have health issues and I want to,
Right.
need to tell him that I need to tell you something, it's about my health. Can we talk on Sunday? Because I know that day we are all like chilled and we can have this conversation. So because I've given him that hint,
Got it.
so he's aware and he's like open to having that conversation.
But this is like something where it's very complicated, I mean, at least from where I see it, it's complicated, where one way you have to compromise either your career maybe and you have to go to some place new and start everything from scratch.
Not really, because long distance relationships work. Okay. And if you're in a long distance relationship, you can do your own thing individually, and maybe somewhere in the future you can find a common ground. Right? For example, you're in a long distance relationship. For example, my friend, she's a scuba diver. She married a scuba diver. Okay. Now, if the husband gets the great offer in, say, Philippines or US or someplace where he's a great scuba diver and he can teach there, they are going to choose that,
Right.
and then eventually she can make that choice, but again it has to be communicated and it has to be a mutual discussion, right? And you really have to be comfortable with the other person, but more so you have to be comfortable with yourself.
Right.
What is it that you want, right? For example, if I'm so confident with my skills, etc., that if I need to move and start something afresh, I will be like, hell yeah, let's do this. This is life. We all get one life, and I want to do something out there. I'm the hero or heroine of my movie and
Boss bitch.
of my story. So is my character just going to be lame like this, or is he or she open to shake things up?
Okay.
And if that doesn't happen, if you don't have that confidence, that is where you will find all of these things a little bit more challenging. Okay. Because you want to be like, see, wanting to be in one place is not a bad thing. Okay. But when you are not self-aware, like, I really like the fact that you use this word. If you're not self-aware, if you are just doing it because it's a habit, then it's always going to be a problem.
Right.
Because somebody or the other will come and want to shake things up, and everything you will get threatened and be like, why is this person doing this to me, and why is this happening this way?
I think some situations are still more complicated.
Of course there are. Of course there are.
Like,
because people are complicated, no?
Exactly. So that's why, so like you can't, communication is a thing, but I don't think there's a thing where your gut feeling, your inner motivations or something like that also come. Like there'll be rational thoughts and there'll be emotional thoughts.
Absolutely. And then you will have to do the pros and cons list.
Exactly.
So what works?
I think it all boils down to the pros and cons list, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And again, the pros and cons list has to also be from a place of self-awareness, right? Not just the technical pros and cons, but emotionally also.
Yeah. No, I think it should be both, like practical ones and the
emotional ones.
Yeah. So, but you should be aware
a lot of people either just make pros and cons based on emotions or based on practicality. But you need to know both.
Yeah.
And for that, you have to be comfortable with your own feelings, right? You have to be comfortable being sad.
Or you need to have people who are honest with you. Who can tell you what the practical things and the emotional side of it both.
But then it is still from their perspective, Yashas.
No, and then it's on you. Like at least then you know that, okay, this is also there. You can just tell them basically. Just be a friend basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and that's why you have a therapist.
Yeah, that too. You actually mentioned therapy a lot of times, right? Be it like couples or personal therapy. So can you tell me situations where you actually don't need therapy?
See, therapy can be used for two situations. Number one, as a means to solve and resolve issues. Okay. And number two is having a sounding board. Now in gym, you can go work out by yourself. But it's always nice to have a
gym bro
nearby, right? A trainer nearby who can spot you and be there to take care if you need it. So that way everybody needs a therapist, like everybody who goes to the gym. Okay. But then there are people who don't go to the gym at all. And they may have ton of health issues, etc. So unko to zarurat hai hi, but they first have to go to the gym, right? Or work out by themselves.
Right. So you're saying basically in every case you will need a therapist.
It's more about wanting one.
Okay.
Yeah. Needing matlab I can't do without. Wanting is I'm choosing to. right?
Right.
So if you choose to have a therapist, you have somebody on your side, you are able to process things faster, and have more transparency in your own self, because a lot of times we lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
We
But if you write things down, like I think journaling, if you really journal every day, I
Right.
feel you won't need a therapist because you're being very
yes,
honest with
absolutely,
yourself.
absolutely. Journaling is very,
Yeah.
very powerful, but what happens when you have a therapist, when you're also journaling and doing all of these, sometimes life throws
Stuff at you where you
a
actually wanna-
curveball at you, and at that time, if you have somebody, like I have clients, like I've been in the profession for 10 years. There are clients who come to me like once a year just to give me a download of
what's been happening.
yeah, like this is what's happening, this is how I've been killing it, and I'm like, go for it, you rock, and then sometimes they come back because again suddenly there's a death
Yeah.
in the family, or they had a bad breakup, or they lost their job, or they had a huge loss in their career or
How do you
business or
deal
something.
with that grief? Just like out of curiosity.
You
Like
Who
most of
deals?
the times, like when there's like some like death, breakup, whatever
Yeah.
the things you mentioned right now, is like talking about it enough?
So emotions are stored in your body, right? So in therapy, like a lot of therapists only do talk therapy. Okay, I'm a holistic practitioner, and
What's that?
a holistic practitioner is basically I understand that there is a mind and body connection. So when you talk about it, it's a top-down approach. So you're talking and you're sort of
Absorbing the
releasing
energy.
or releasing all of that.
Okay.
It's on thought based. Okay, but what happens to your body when you're feeling that stress? Just visualize the time that you got really scared or you were really sad. It was not just something happening here, but it was something happening throughout your body.
Right.
Right? So those emotions get stored and stuck in your body, and if you're not resolving them and removing them, they will get stuck. Okay, now there are some simple ways to do it that will remove some simple emotions like stress. You can just work out and remove the stress. But there are some deep rooted traumas that are there, some
Yeah.
things that we don't even remember, but it's there. Imagine, you witnessed something when you were a kid and you have no memory of it right now. But the memory still stays within you in your subconscious mind. And the stored trauma is there in your body, right?
Right.
And that's why you get triggered in similar situations and you don't know why you're getting triggered. Right? And that's why it just keeps coming up and you just don't know what's happening. And that's where, in therapy, you can find out those things that why do I get angry in this situation? Like logically, I know it's just ridiculous, but I get so upset or I get so sad.
Which I think journaling can't help a person.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Okay.
A lot of times
And
because
there
you
are
don't
not only
realize.
one form of therapy. There's a
many
lot
many
of forms of therapy,
many
right?
forms of therapy.
Okay.
Right. So in therapy, you can learn how to sit with your feelings. In journaling, you don't really learn how to sit with your feelings.
Yeah.
You don't know what sitting with your feelings
Like
is.
my friend was telling me about this body consciousness, soul consciousness thing as well. I don't know if therapy can solve like that or let you know about that, but it's also a thing where makes you more aware. It makes you more like connected to your
Right.
soul and
Right.
who you are kind of a
Right,
person.
absolutely. So that's a very spiritual aspect. So
Yeah.
in my therapy, I do a lot of
Yeah.
spirituality. So I'm a big believer in law of attraction. So obviously, my knowledge over there is extremely limited, but whatever I know, I practice it, and I get great benefits.
Yeah,
and
has it ever worked?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What do you do? Like, how do you?
I am a vision board, person.
Okay.
So I actually take vision board masterclasses. So at the start
What's
of the year.
vision board?
So vision board is a very beautiful thing. Okay, basically, there's many ways to do it. But what I do is we take a huge cardboard and then we stick pictures of things that we want. We break it down into 9 parts. Things that you want. So career, life, home, family, travel. ऐसे करके you break it into 9 parts and you stick pictures according to what speaks to you and you give yourself a timeline. For example, a vision board, a lot of people will just make very generic vision board. Ferrari चाहिए, Ferrari के photo डाल दी, okay, but it's your vision board, you see it every day, great, but a lot of times people want things fast, and humans right now at this generation, we are like instant gratification generation, and that's
True.
also the reason why we want hookups, because we want things fast, we want things a lot,
Yeah.
and we want things often.
Yeah.
So so that's a quick dopamine, right? But
So the
when you want a vision board to be actualize it, you have to also have a timeline in mind that this is my 6-month. So basically vision board is nothing but your goals, but in visual form.
Right.
So you remember, for example, one of my vision board was to be on YouTube, so I put it over there, but it was very generic. I hadn't put a thought, when I wanted, how I wanted. So
Right.
it's still not happening.
Right.
But I know it's going to eventually happen.
And if you put like a very like bizarre thing on your vision board, like I want $10 million in 6 months, then what's the possibility?
Again, so law of attraction works in a way that you manifest it, and also you have to put in like massive action is required, right? So if you're somebody who does nothing,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen, okay? But you are an investment banker, right? For you, that amount of money can definitely be possible. You just have to find your ways.
Yeah, but
And
a lot of time will be taken
yeah,
for that.
full lot
So
of time
if
will
I-
be taken.
and-
So again, so that's why you have to break your goals down into SMART goals.
Right.
Right. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So, for example, in my profession, if I want that goal, it is achievable. But 6 months, no.
Right.
It will probably take like close to 6 years.
Okay.
And I should be okay with that. But if I'm fighting with the reality that, I want it in 6 months or something, then maybe it can happen in 6 months. Maybe I will land a big deal or something, somebody will listen to this podcast and be like, oh, I want her in my movies, and I'll get signed. And you don't know how the universe works,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Right?
it's
But the
also
thing about vision board is you leave it. So it's a very it's a law of polarization and duality. Basically, you ask for it also, and then you forget about it also.
Yeah. That also reminds me of visualizations. now.
Yeah.
Like I am more of a visual person.
So visualization and vision board are the same thing.
Exactly, right? But I don't need to put it out there like
Yeah.
in a physical
Yeah.
form. It's all in my head. And
Yeah.
I read
But
this.
if you actually put it out there, and if you put it in a part of like do you know Superwoman Lily Singh?
No.
What is this? You don't know.
Why
should-
should I know?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
You know Joe Rogan, you don't know Lily Singh.
No, not really. I mean,
Ha,
Joe
go
Rogan
check her
is... Yeah, anyway. Joe Rogan makes $80 million a year. So,
So
I
does
mean...
she. She has her own talk show, bro.
Who is she? I don't know.
Hyla?
I
Judging
don't
it
know.
totally.
Yeah, because I'm in podcast now. I'm not in talk show business.
So basically, so she was this YouTuber, and now she has her own night show. Late night talk show. And so basically, so I Google a lot about vision board and all of that.
Right.
So a lot of conversations come up. And so she says that earlier she had put her vision board in her bedroom, but she realized she was always traveling so much that she didn't spend a lot of time in her bedroom. So she put it in her bathroom outside her shower. So every time she was showering, she could see it.
Yeah.
So when you actually
It
put it
crept
down
into her subconscious mind eventually.
faster. So even if you're visualizing, okay, that means you're meditating, etc. That's great. But also do this. Your manifestations will
process will become faster. But I think so when I'm visualizing the thing that I love them, like why it's so addictive, because I'm actually in that situation.
Yeah.
That what I want, I'm in that situation and I can feel everything.
That's exactly
around
how
me.
it works. So I told I had a session with a corporate today. So I was teaching them about this. So there's this case study, okay? They did this study in America, in the US, where they studied two basketball teams, and they did this study quite often. So they got the same results every time. So both the teams were given a particular training. Basketball team taught it to dribble in a certain way, dunk in a certain way. They given the exact same training, except one team was taught to visualize before the training started. Right before the practice started, they were all made to sit down and visualize that they are running, they're doing their,
Right. Yeah, got it. They were
and
training.
they're like dunking it, and then they actually studied the two groups separately, and then they found out that the group that actually did that visualization activity scored more points than the group that was only doing the exercises.
But why is that? Like how?
Because your brain, your subconscious mind, it takes your thoughts as reality. Right? So when you say that I'm stupid or I'm this or I'm that, it doesn't know you're joking. It doesn't have that filter. You say it, it's like, okay, I'm going to believe it. And when it believes it, it's going to put you in situations or do things subconsciously where you feel stupid, or you will feel, stuff like that. But when you're visualizing that I've achieved this, I've done this, or, this is where I am, your subconscious mind will back. It's a process that's happening in the back of your
and
mind,
then it
right?
becomes your mindset as well.
Yes. And then it will put you in situations and conditions where you are ready to be in that situation, and suddenly you'll be like, oh god, this is exactly what I visualized.
I think Kobe Bryant used to practice this.
Exactly.
Yeah. No wonder he has the mentality that he has.
Exactly. So visualization is extremely powerful, but visualization without massive action is just daydreaming.
Yeah, Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So a lot of people do come to me and like, when I teach them this and they'll tell me, how will this happen? You have to put in the efforts.
But I think that happens normally.
No, a lot of people will not do it. They'll be like, oh, I'm visualizing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I'll ask them, okay, what was your to-do list? Nothing. I just binge watched Netflix and...
No, I can't
फिर
relate.
कैसे होगा?
I can't relate. Because I have to do something. And
Yeah.
I manifest, like for me, it's like a thing where I'm doing it on the side. My
Yeah.
main thing is my main thing.
Yeah.
This is something that I like to do. So I'm
Yeah.
doing it just like a thing,
Yeah.
a hobby kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
So that is there. But
Yeah.
I can't keep it my main thing and not do anything because I become very restless like
Exactly.
Yeah.
You still have to do your thing.
that. Exactly.
Right? And then the visualization basically makes the situation, the whole experience much more fun. And because we are visual creatures, we get drawn to
Yeah,
it.
that's true. I am actually drawn to it. Like I think yesterday only I was visualizing about something, me being in some situation that I won't be able to tell right now. And everything happening around me was basically people reacting to me. And I have like wild visualization. Like I'll be at the top of the world, something like that, and just everything happening around me, people just reacting to that.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically it's something like that. Like it's bizarre. You can't even basically think about it in a rational way.
Right.
But yeah, but you're actually in that place.
Right.
Now, I don't know the work that I'm putting here or wherever else. How is that leading me to that?
Right.
But it's just something that I'm
Right.
liking to do.
Right.
So yeah, that's something that
We'll talk about it.
yes. Cool. Thank you so much for doing this. I had a really interesting and fun conversation today with
Oh,
you.
it's over?
Yeah.
I was really having a good time.
Yeah, me too.
That's great. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Yashas, for inviting me. And your questions were really good. And I really hope, people listening to this.
Yeah, I think it will help, or at least they get a value out of it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you so much for
Most
being
welcome.
here again. Yes.
Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you, guys.